crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler 11 October 2020. Crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler 11 October 2024. In Germany, CDU and CSU prepare the return of nuclear power. Hungary says Turkstream could help supply Europe with gas if transit via Ukraine ends. Cooperation with Russian Gazprom ensures supply and great price for Hungary, Foreign Minister says in Russia. Sajardo says, Budapest is under pressure to end energy cooperation with Russia. Slovakia wants to ban mRNA vaccines. 1 week ago, Slovak health minister quits over government support for anti-vaxxers' COVID report. In Canada, Poilivre backs mandatory psychiatric drug treatment for kids prisoners. Moscow court finds Discord for $36,230 over LGBT propaganda. 10 days ago it has been reported as Russia orders Discord to remove almost 1,000 posts it says contain illegal materials. In Germany, economic researchers warn of further increase in bankruptcies. UK resumes Swiss trade talks in global Britain push. IMF demand on special economic zones to dissuade China investments in Pakistan, as reported by Bloomberg. In Switzerland, the federal government calls on the population to create emergency supplies. 5 months ago, government tells Britons to stockpile as part of emergency planning. Trump proposes new tax break on car loan interest. VW and BMW chiefs warn on EU's China EV tariffs amid falling profits. UNIFIL confirms Israel hit 3 bases. Israeli forces fire at UN position in Lebanon. 22 killed in Beirut strike. Italy summons Israeli ambassador after UN observers wounded in Lebanon. Israel recommends Lebanon peacekeepers move, says UN envoy. Michigan newspaper issues correction after Trump claims he won Man of Year award. Roger Stone suggests using armed guards during election in secret video. FCC chair denounces Trump's calls for CBS to lose its license over Harris's 60 Minutes interview. Drug maker Teva Pharmaceuticals agrees to pay $450 million in False Claims Act settlement to resolve kickback allegations relating to co-payments and price fixing. In Brazil, adoption of children by same-sex couples triples in 4 years. Russian official recommends recognizing anthropomorphic subcultures as LGBT propaganda. Poland funds Starlink modules used by Ukrainian soldiers, not Musk, says Polish Foreign Affairs Minister Sikorski. UK considering sending troops to west of Ukraine for recruit training. Macron inspects Ukrainian troops training at a French military camp. Football Manager 25 release delayed until March 2025. YouTube says it is not hiding the skip button on ads. Amazon bets big on sports streaming in bid to boost Prime memberships, advertising revenue. iPhone users can send texts via satellite when cell service is down. NASA to pay €2.7 million for innovative recycling projects in space. Grand tomb of Roman gladiator found in Turkey actually contains the remains of 12 other people. Pharrell Williams confesses his massive hit Happy was actually born out of sarcasm. Celine Dion releases official hymn, A L'Amour Paris Olympics recording in honor of Edith Piaf. James Hetfield says Metallica don't want to be a legacy band that just plays their greatest hits. Reportedly, Britain's demographic is in the process of dramatic change, as The Guardian comments as, deaths outstrip births in UK for first time in nearly 50 years, and The Times comments as immigration fuels biggest UK population rise in at least 50 years. NYC seeking 14,000 hotel rooms to shelter migrants through 2025, as housing costs set to surpass $2.3 billion. Errol Morris's Trump immigration documentary is reportedly being held until after the election. Salon comments as new documentary details Trump's child separation policy, but NBC won't air it until December. In the UK, Chancellor Rachel Reeves considering raising capital gains tax as high as 39%. China steps up checks of wealth management products after $149 billion outflow. Bloomberg comments as unions need to join the 21st century economy. BMW delivers over 100,000 electric cars in Q3. GM sold more EVs and hybrids than gas cars for the first time in China. SEMA sues California to stop the state's EV mandates. Reportedly, thousands of Trump Bibles were printed in China as he campaigned against trade practices. Germans decry influence of English as idiots apostrophe gets official approval. New Nobel Prize winner, AI godfather Geoffrey Hinton, says he's proud his student fired OpenAI boss Sam Altman. Just 2.5% of U.S. homes changed hands in 2024, the lowest rate in decades. U.S. 30 years mortgage rises to 6.32%, biggest weekly gain since April, Freddie Mac says. In Germany, economic researchers warn of further increase in bankruptcies. Bank of Korea cuts rate to 3.25% as inflation cools, ending longest rate freeze. Air India buys 85 Airbus jets, eyes more Boeings, sources say. Bloomberg reports as aircraft debt sales are rebounding after Russia plane seizures. Italy sets conditions for Como stake sale by Stellantis. Stellantis ousts CFO in effort to stabilize reeling business. Marriott settles with FTC to pay $52 million over data breaches. Hackers take control of robot vacuums in multiple cities, yell racial slurs. Qualcomm reveal hackers targeted Android users by exploiting zero-day bug in Qualcomm chips. South Korea unveils world's first autonomous, amphibious robotic missile launcher. Chinese laser weapon similar to British Dragonfire reportedly spotted in Iran. Germany will send more weapons to Israel soon, Scholz says. In the U.S., pro-Palestinian hackers claim DDoS attack on Internet Archive, amid data breach and website defacement. It has been reported as Internet Archive was exposing user email addresses for years before recent breach. Russia shares AI images of Hurricane Milton as disinformation abounds in USA. Company behind major Social Security number leak files for bankruptcy. AMD launches MI325X AI chip, taking on NVIDIA's Blackwell. NVIDIA stock rises after management says Blackwell is sold out for 12 months. Apple opens its most extensive lab outside US in China amid fierce rivalry with Huawei. TikTok owner ByteDance launches $170 earbuds in China in push into AI wearables. Donald Trump says Project 2025 author coming on board if elected. Donald Trump is Putin's source at the top, says former CIA chief. The Atlantic endorses Harris, with she believes in democracy. U.S. meteorologists face death threats as hurricane conspiracies surge, and sleeper agent bots on X fuel U.S. election misinformation, study says. Obama lashes out at crazy Trump in first U.S. election rally for Harris. CBS News says Trump campaign had shifting explanations for why he snubbed 60 Minutes. Trump insults Detroit while campaigning in the city as Trump, pitching aid for Michigan automakers, insults Detroit. North Korean troops fighting for Russia in Ukraine, as announced by Seoul, and Kremlin dismisses reports of North Korean soldiers fighting in Ukraine. Africans recruited to work in Russia duped into building drones for use in Ukraine. The Financial Times comments as, no one but Moscow gains from Polish and Ukrainian tensions. 15 days ago, it has been reported that Putin will likely control part of Ukraine when war ends, Czech president says. 1 month ago, Harris suggested that Russia could target Poland if Ukraine loses the war. In Italy, Bologna imam expelled for voicing support for Hamas. In India, government bans Lebanon-based terror outfit Hizb ut-Tahrir. 5 Arab Israelis indicted over plot to car bomb Tel Aviv skyscraper. Taiwan's president vows to resist annexation by China in National Day speech. Former Taiwan leader Tsai to visit Czech Republic, other European destinations, drawing China's ire. Chechnya's Kadyrov threatens blood feud, accuses Russian MPs of plotting his murder, state media reports. White House says Sinwar remains Hamas decision-maker, alive in Gaza. In Canada, victims of communism memorial faces call to remove over 330 names linked to Nazis fascists. FBI announces the repatriation of a Nazi-looted Monet, missing for more than 80 years, to the heirs of original owners. In the U.S., TD Bank pleads guilty to Bank Secrecy Act and money laundering conspiracy violations in $1.8 billion resolution, as 92% of total transaction volume going unmonitored in certain years. Over 370 million girls and women globally subjected to rape or sexual assault as children, as announced by UNICEF. More than 200 women in legal talks with Harrods over Al-Fayed abuse claims. Crypto ETF issuer Fidelity says breach leaked data of 77K customers. Pro KYC deepfake tool exploited to bypass crypto exchange security. FBI warns of cryptocurrency scams as report finds Californians lost $1 billion. In the U.S., SEC charges Cumberland DRW for operating as an unregistered dealer in the crypto asset markets. Dubai's VARA fines issues cease and desist orders against 7 crypto entities. China to sell $1.3 billion of Ethereum from seized Plus token scheme. EU countries greenlight €35 billion loan for Ukraine using Russia's frozen assets. EU's von der Leyen urges Moldovans to vote, announces $2 billion in aid. Ukrainian media outlet says it's being pressured by Zelensky's office. Pedro Sanchez unveils plans to help migrants settle in Spain. In Spain, Sanchez touts benefits of migration as European neighbors tighten borders. Reportedly, Japan seeks to draw digital nomads, who are seen as beneficial to economy, society. Italy's hard-right government set to send sea migrants to Albania in bid to curb arrivals. NHK to align streaming service charges with terrestrial TV fees in Japan, as NHK to charge monthly online viewer fee of 1,100 yen starting next year. Netflix is not changing talent compensation model, Bella Bajaria says. PayPal formally launches ad business to pitch its shopping data to advertisers. Tennis legend Nadal to retire in November 2024. Nobuo Oyama, voice actor for beloved Japanese cartoon robotic cat Doraemon, dies at age 90. Japanese atomic bomb survivor movement Neon Hidenkyo wins Nobel Peace Prize. Hong Kong wins Nobel Prize in Literature for intense poetic prose, confronting human fragility. Fewer soft drinks, red meat may ease menopause symptoms, claimed in a study. Breakdancers may risk headspin hole, caused by repetitive headspins, doctors warn. Study finds rise in emergency visits for pregnancy hypertension. Palestinian Islamic Jihad head killed in airstrike in West Bank. Iraqi Shiite militia threatens to attack U.S. forces if assaulted by Israel. Stop Israel from bombing Iran's oil sites, Gulf states urge U.S. Ukraine's Zelensky outlines victory plan to allies, discusses long-range weapons. 20 days ago, Moscow says it will not participate in Second Ukraine Peace Summit. Zelensky denies ceasefire with Russia under discussion on Europe trip. And Zelensky says Ukraine won't consider exchanging territories for Western guarantees. Dutch police arrest admin of Bohemia Cannabia, dark web market. Old devices, idle servers can be turned to spy on us, China's top security agency warns. U.S. officials race to understand severity of China's salt typhoon hacks. ByteDance-owned TikTok slashes hundreds of jobs in shift towards AI content moderation. TikTok executives know about app's effect on teens, lawsuit documents allege. TikTok sets aside $1 billion to cover future European data privacy fines. Taiwan says 4 iPhone maker staff detained in China under strange circumstances. CDNR nears deal to buy Sanofi's consumer unit for $16 billion, source says. UPU names Deutsche Post and Swiss Post as best in the world. Bitcoin recognized as divisible property in South Korean divorces. Almost half of traditional hedge funds are dabbling in crypto. Stripe reintegrates crypto payments in the USA. Trump's World Liberty Financial submits proposal to Ethereum DeFi protocol Aave. It has been speculated as Trump-linked DeFi venture could double Aave's treasury overnight with $100 million boost. The FBI secretly created a coin to investigate crypto pump and dump schemes. Apple hosts secretive conferences to teach law enforcement how to better use iPhone, CarPlay and Vision Pro for police work. U.S. Department of Justice requests information from Saab North America Incorporated regarding Brazil's acquisition of Gripen fighters in 2014. China slaps sanctions on 3 U.S. firms, 10 senior execs over weapons sales to Taiwan. BRICS nations set for 4.4% growth in 2024 through 2025, outpacing G7 economies. Elon Musk hypes $30,000 Tesla self-driving cybercab and larger robovan at robotaxi event. Musk unveils new Optimus personal assistant robot. In the past week, 4 of Elon Musk's direct reports have announced their exits from Tesla. LinkedIn says 10M people have signed up as freelancers on its services marketplace. Unilever exits Russia with sale of all assets to local company. Reuters reports that China's Chery assembles cars in Russian plants vacated by Western rivals. Donald Trump doubles down on China carmakers being unwelcome in U.S. market. OKX launches fully licensed platform for retail and institutional investors in UAE. Ripple expands custody business to offer bank-grade service to crypto firms. Formerly Swaziland, Eswatini Central Bank unveils digital Lilongwe design paper. Study finds it could take over 40 years to flush PFAS out of groundwater. Average wildlife population size declined by 73% in just 50 years, warns WWF. Toothbrushes and showerheads are teeming with viruses unknown to science, study shows. Miley is moving forward with his plan to reduce spending. He will now cut senior executive positions at AFIP, who earn between 14 and 32 million Argentinian pesos per month, as government to conduct suitability test on 40,000 civil servants. Those who fail will be fired. French government unveils unprecedented public spending cuts and tax hikes for 2025. As commented for in 2025 budget, 4,000 fewer teaching positions in education, a sabotage for the unions, as French government aims to reduce deficit to 5% of GDP in 2025. Crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler, TED October 2024. Chemistry Nobel goes to developers of AlphaFold AI that predicts protein structures. Nobel Physics Prize 2024 won by AI pioneers John Hopfield and Geoffrey Hinton. 2024 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine awarded for the discovery of microRNA and its role in post-transcriptional gene regulation, jointly to Victor Ambros and Gary Ruvkun. Samsung Electronics apologizes for disappointing profit as it struggles in AI chips. AI chipmaker Cerebras files for IPO to take on NVIDIA 7 months ago. It has been announced as Cerebras Systems unveils world's fastest AI chip with whopping 4 trillion transistors. Foxconn building NVIDIA superchip facility in Mexico, executives say. Team becomes first Tetris NES player to clear level 255 and achieve the mythical rebirth. Silent Hill 2 Remake is console exclusive to PS5 for 1 year. 343 Industries becomes Halo Studios, multiple Halo games in development on Unreal Engine 5. After injury, one species of comb jelly can fuse to become one. Life expectancy is increasing at a slower rate this century, and it may be because we're reaching our human limit. Mouse experiment reveals brains divide mealtime into 4 stages. Study claims brain changes based on what you did 2 weeks ago. U.S. Air Force funds spacecraft to transport cargo from orbit for 90 minutes global delivery. Hera spacecraft launched to investigate asteroid that was deliberately hit by NASA mission. NASA's Europa Clipper spacecraft will investigate whether an icy moon of Jupiter can support alien life. Sam Bankman-Fried's bankrupt FTX crypto exchange is cleared to repay customers. Former Bitcoin developer Peter Todd denies he's Satoshi, hours before HBO documentary airs. Crypto.com sues US SEC after receiving legal threat from regulator. EU creates appeals center to referee disputes with social media giants. As new body to handle disputes between EU users and Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Adobe introduces Adobe Content Authenticity web app to champion creator protection and attribution for creators to apply content credentials to their work. The White House started posting on Reddit to talk about Hurricane Milton. Google ordered to open up App Store in Epic Games' antitrust ruling. Elon Musk's X will no longer pay creators based on ads, but on engagement. Roblox accused of lying to investors about user numbers by Hindenburg Research. Musk's X to be reinstated in Brazil after complying with Supreme Court demands. In the U.S., Supreme Court declines to weigh in on X Corporation's challenge to special counsel Jack Smith's access to Donald Trump's Twitter direct messages. Unsealed order in Amazon antitrust suit lets entire FTC case proceed. Dismisses some state claims. Leaked M4 MacBook Pro appears for sale on Russian classified site. 2 days ago, Russian YouTubers keep showing off alleged M4 MacBook Pros in historic Apple leak. Twitter acts fast on non-consensual nudity if it thinks it's a copyright violation, a research claims. Russian media company's broadcasting was hacked on Putin's birthday. Turkey blocks access to Discord online platform citing child safety concerns. Also, Russia bans Discord over unlawful information posting. In the U.S., TikTok users are more interested in pop culture and entertainment than news and politics, study finds. Shine's UK sales hit $2 billion ahead of possible London listing. Snapchat announces testing of sponsored ads in chats and promoted places in Snap Map. U.S. considers breakup of Google in landmark search case. Walz says the Electoral College needs to go. Romney won't endorse Harris, saying he wants to keep his voice in the party. Wall Street Journal comments as Biden and Harris mismanaged Hurricane Helene. Russia is on a sustained mission to create mayhem on Europe's streets, UK spy chief says. FBI arrests Afghan man who officials say planned election day attack in the U.S. Israel has not briefed U.S. military officials on its plans for retaliation against Iran, U.S. officials say, and U.S. to give Israel compensation if it hits acceptable targets in Iran, claimed in a report. Kremlin says Trump sent Putin COVID tests while president 1 day ago. It has been reported that Trump secretly gave Putin COVID test machines, as Bob Woodward's book says. Trump says Gaza could be better than Monaco. Vanity Fair comments as, lying is loyalty in Trump's GOP. Red Dead Redemption finally comes to PC 14 years after its original release. Wimbledon tennis tournament replaces line judges with technology and break with tradition. Christopher Nolan sets next movie at Universal Indiana IMAX for summer 2026, with Matt Damon eyed to star. Biden sets 10 years deadline for U.S. cities to replace lead pipes. In the U.S., Jewish officials handling hurricane communications face anti-Semitic harassment. Geico is terminating insurance coverage of Tesla Cybertrucks, says, this type of vehicle doesn't meet our underwriting guidelines. BP bows to investor pressure as it abandons plans to cut oil output. Wait a few more minutes for an electric Uber, says boss 1 month ago. Uber calls on you to ban combustion engines on ride-sharing cars by 2030. Biden postpones Germany, Angola trip as Milton nears Florida. It has been reported as Hurricane Milton to make landfall in Florida with life-threatening storm surge, winds, flooding. Elon Musk plans to campaign for Trump in battleground Pennsylvania. Elon Musk says it would be pointless to try to assassinate Kamala Harris. Donald Trump says there are a lot of bad genes among migrants in the U.S., as Trump claims immigrants have brought bad genes into the country. Putin's merchant of death is back in the arms business. This time selling to the Houthis as Victor Bout is trying to sell weapons to the Houthis, Western officials say. UN members reject Saudi bid to join its Human Rights Council. Russia has suffered more than 600,000 casualties in Ukraine, U.S. official says. Trump allies threaten Deloitte contracts after employee shares Vance chats. Reportedly, porn industry jumps into the presidential campaign, targeting Project 2025, as porn stars launch campaign against Project 2025 targeting swing states. Elon Musk's PAC is paying $47 for each solicited petition signature from a swing state voter. RT uses AI to broadcast Vladimir Putin speeches in English. AI to shape UK defense review. OpenAI sees roughly $5 billion loss this year on $3.7 billion in revenue. Trump rejects Fox News invite to debate Harris in late October, as Fox News Media proposes Trump and Harris presidential debate in Pennsylvania. Tim Walz rally goes live on World of Warcraft Twitch stream. A former aide to New York Mayor Eric Adams is charged with destroying evidence, as top deputy quits. Amazon says new technology in vans will help sort packages on the fly and save time, and Amazon's new AI guides can help shoppers find what they need. Nintendo unveiled an alarm clock that plays Mario coin noises when you roll over. Spotify starts free streaming option in South Korea. Prosecutors charge 4 crypto market makers, employees with market manipulation and fraud, as in the U.S. 18 individuals and entities charged in international operation targeting widespread fraud and manipulation in the cryptocurrency markets. FTC takes action against Marriott and Starwood over multiple data breaches. MoneyGram says hackers stole customers' personal information and transaction data. India's Star Health confirms data breach after cybercriminals post customers' health data online. U.S. government's GSAs log in to offer face recognition to customer agencies. Internet Archive hacked. Data breach impacts 31 million users. Propagandists around the world keep trying to use ChatGPT, according to OpenAI report. OpenAI establishes presence in Singapore to support international expansion. OpenAI and Hearst strike deal to bring news content to ChatGPT. OpenAI pursues public benefit structure to fend off hostile takeovers. Crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler, 07 October 2024. In the UK, Amazon Fire TVs to carry freely streaming platform and boost for BBC and ITV, as BBC and other public UK broadcasters strike Amazon streaming service deal. Bloomberg reports that, in the UK, Premier League pushed out gambling firms, teams turned to crypto. 2 years ago, it had been reported as Premier League clubs accused of exploiting supporters as 17 of 20 clubs agreed to commercial cryptocurrency deals, despite growing concerns over potential fraud. Criminals exploit Telegram in Southeast Asia's $36 billion cybercrime, announced in a UN report. Scientists use Cold War-era spy plane to find unexpected gamma rays in thunderstorms. NASA will use mushrooms to grow homes on Mars and the Moon. IG Nobel Prize-winning research announces, longevity claims may reflect lousy birth and death record-keeping, more than accurate human lifespans. Google's grip on search slips as TikTok and AI startup mount challenge. Google is testing verified checkmarks in search. Google starts rolling out 3 theft protection feature for Android. U.S. couple blocked from suing Uber after crash say daughter agreed to terms while using Uber Eats. Uber and Lyft drivers use Teslas as makeshift robot access, raising safety concerns. McLaren introduces $2.1 million W1 hybrid supercar to honor F1 history. Brazil's top court says X paid pending fines to wrong bank. Grindr aims to build the dating world's first AI wingman. iOS 18.1 with Apple Intelligence could arrive on eligible iPhones on October 28. Google will let you search the web with video recordings. New York Times comments as, e-commerce is making China's deflation worse. 1 month ago, it had been commented as China's deflationary spiral now entering dangerous new stage, and Bloomberg commented 1 month ago, China deflation risk grows as signs of economic weakness mount. Bolsonaro-backed candidates pull ahead in Brazil mayor elections. Reuters reports that conservative think tank targeting NASA employees' communications about Musk and Trump. Hillary Clinton says social media companies need to moderate content, or we lose total control. Vance says a future Trump administration would defund Planned Parenthood. Muslim faith leaders endorse Harris. Harris weighs more breaks with Biden, as he keeps injecting himself into the campaign. Axios comments as potential Trump loss threatens destruction of modern GOP. Over 10,000 anti-Semitic incidents recorded in the U.S. since October 7, 2023, according to ADL preliminary data. NBC comments as, the next president is poised to inherit the fewest judicial vacancies in generations. Iran summons Australia envoy over comments on attack on Israel. Iran is increasingly desperate, retired U.S. general says. Israel intensifies bombardment of Gaza and southern Lebanon ahead of October 7th anniversary. Speaker Johnson calls federal response to Helene a massive failure. Florida prepares to evacuate millions of people ahead of another hurricane. Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt says we should go all in on building AI data centers because we are never going to meet our climate goals anyway. Wall Street Journal comments as, Donald Trump Jr. became the crown prince of MAGA world. Elon Musk's mother encouraged ex-followers to commit voter fraud, as she is fact-checked on Son's platform. Recently in U.S. presidential elections, Elon Musk's mother may under fire for suggesting Republicans make 10 fake names to vote. Kushner has discussed U.S. and Saudi diplomacy with Saudi Crown Prince since leaving office. Crypto, politics, tech and more. Daily News Digest by News Source Crawler, 05 October 2024. EU vote on Chinese EV tariffs inconclusive, leaving EU Commission to decide. EU sources say recently, EU was set to vote on tariffs targeting electric vehicles from China. Germany lobbies fellow EU members to vote against tariffs on Chinese EVs, as German union, auto workers call on Germany to vote against EU tariffs on Chinese EVs. Scholz advisor says EV tariffs not good idea, ahead of vote, and China, EU must reason their way out of EV dispute, says Merkel's former advisor. Shares in Stellantis, Aston Martin skid on profit warnings, as European carmakers warn on profits in the face of weak demand and rising costs. OpenAI raises $6.6 billion and is now valued at $157 billion. OpenAI backer Khosla says it's reasonable to invest trillions in AI. Black Forest Labs, the startup behind Grok's image generator, releases an API. Meta unveils AI video generator, taking on OpenAI and Google. Facebook seeks to attract young adults with new community, video features. Meta must limit data use for targeted advertising. Top U court rules. Meta is uniting the revenue streams, which it has used to pay more than 4 million creators. Scientists map fruit fly brain and neurobiological milestone. PhD studies hurt mental health but less than previously feared. Nearly 50% of researchers quit science within a decade, huge study reveals. Federal authorities say there's no money left to respond to hurricanes, after FEMA spent $1.4 billion on migrants. In Hurricane Helene's aftermath, more than 200 dead, as hope fades in search for survivors. Tokyo to expand underground cathedral complex to handle more extreme storms. Exported gas produces far worse emissions than coal, major study finds. In the UK, FCA fined Starling Bank £29 million for failings in their financial crime systems and controls. Coinbase to delist unauthorized stablecoins in EU by December. Cybercops stopped 500 ransomware hacks since 2021, DHS says. Musk says he'll attend Trump rally in Butler, scene of July shooting. Liz Cheney invokes January 6th, as she touts endorsement of Harris in Wisconsin. Republican election denier Tina Peters sentenced to 9 years in prison for voting data scheme. Jamie Dimon denies Trump's claim that JP Morgan CEO has endorsed him. Ben Horowitz will donate to Harris campaign after Trump's support. Small dollar donations drive Trump campaign past $160 million in September. U.S. dockworkers suspend 3 days strike after contract extension, and Asian shipping shares sink after U.S. dockworkers pause strike. Quartz mines hit by Hurricane Helene could disrupt the semiconductor supply chain. UN says, Congo rebels generating $300,000 monthly in seized mining area. It has been commented as Federal Reserve drives global push to cut rates despite questions over 2025, and Federal Reserve's rate cut unlikely to boost U.S. auto sales in Q4, as inflation in Europe falls below 2%, paves way for faster interest rate cuts. Czech central bank chief vows to cut rates very cautiously. Romania to pause rate cuts before central bank board reshuffle. Citibank says lira strength appears to be curbing Turkey inflows. Mozambique's presidential frontrunner likely to keep Rwandans protecting gas sites. Trump vows to restore Confederate generals named to NC military base. DNA reveals identity of officer on the lost Franklin expedition, and his remains show signs of cannibalism. Bloomberg comments as, nowhere in America is safe from climate-fueled storms and fires. 1 year ago Bloomberg had been reported as, nowhere is safe from worsening climate change, new U.S. report warns. Biden calls climate change deniers brain dead, warns storms will get worse. A study claims 96% of climate policy since 1998 failed. In the U.S. Justice Department disrupts Russian intelligence spear phishing efforts, as Department of Justice and Microsoft seize 107 internet domains. Dutch government blames a state actor for hacking a police network. Wall Street Journal reports, U.S. wiretap systems targeted in China-linked hack. Trump resorted to crimes to overturn 2020 election. Special counsel reveals the new evidence. As Trump not entitled to immunity for efforts to overturn 2020 election, U.S. special counsel says. Video shows J.D. Vance saying Trump won the 2020 election. New details emerge on Trump's alleged plan to use fake electors to overturn election loss, as Rudy Giuliani allegedly sent a text begging Michigan to overturn 2020 election. But he got the wrong number. Post-trauma, and the alters have been delayed until 2025. Ubisoft shares surged 31% as Tencent and Guillemot family reportedly mull buyout. NFL reportedly negotiates potential deals with Ellison Skydance and Redbird. Apple releases macOS Sequoia 1.5.0.1 with bug fixes. Apple releases iOS 1.8.0.1 with touchscreen bug fix and others. Apple releases watchOS 1.1.0.1 with fix for battery drain and touchscreen issues. Apple may bring a guest mode to your iPhone, helping to protect its secrets. Google adds new Pixel security features to block 2G exploits and baseband attacks. RCMP official won't say whether Chinese police stations are still operating in Canada. Bugging device found in my bathroom after Netanyahu visit, claims Boris Johnson. Chinese woman arrested in Germany on suspicion of espionage, prosecutor says. UK cedes Chagos Island sovereignty to Mauritius, retains Diego Garcia Air Base. Argentina vows to gain full sovereignty of the Falklands with concrete action after Chagos deal. Masamitsu Yoshioka, last Pearl Harbor bombardier, dies at 106. 500-pound US WW-2 bomb explodes at Japanese airport 80 years later. BBC's Boris Johnson interview cancelled after presenter Laura Quensberg mistakenly sent former UK Prime Minister briefing notes. Reuters reports that Musk funded right-wing political non-profit years before he endorsed Trump, sources say. Pink Floyd's David Gilmour rejects Roger Waters' reunion over support for genocidal dictators. NHS England proposes phased rollout for Eli Lilly's star obesity drug, Mounjaro. In the UK, surgeon used Swiss Army knife to cut patient open as he couldn't find clean scalpel. Reportedly, England's HIV diagnoses hit 15-year high after surge of cases among migrants coming in. MPs to get historic vote on England and Wales assisted dying bill. In the US, 10 pharmaceutical distributor executives, sales representatives, and brokers charged in connection with unlawful sales of nearly 70 opioid pills. WHO approves first monkeypox diagnostic test for emergency use, boosting global access. Putin signs law giving criminal defendants immunity if they join the army. Chinese mercenaries fighting for Russia killed in Ukraine, claimed in a report. Russia scraps population census as war casualties mount. CIA seeks informants in China, North Korea and Iran recruiting online. In the U.S., 5 Chinese nationals charged with covering up midnight visit to Michigan military site. Russian state TV employee caught impersonating BBC reporter to film Russian opposition figures in Europe. California becomes first state to ban sell-by and best before labels to reduce food waste. Biden administration restores pre-Trump farm worker protections from pesticides. Biden exempts some semiconductor factories from environmental reviews. Painting found by junk dealer and seller is original Picasso, experts claim. Lady Gaga says her take on Harley Quinn came from her experience with mania and chaos inside. Reese Witherspoon to write debut novel, will team with Harlan Coben for a collaborative suspense. Texas sues TikTok, alleging it's selling children's personal data. Telegram confirms it gave U.S. user data to the cops, as Telegram has been disclosing user IPs since 2018, Durov says. Australian court upholds order for Musk's ex to pay $418,000 fine over anti-child abuse probe. NASA's Europa Clipper spacecraft is set to look for life-friendly conditions around Jupiter. SpaceX veterans create startup-to-power spacecraft with moon water. Sun ejects largest X-class solar flare in 7 years. Auroras may be visible as far as Texas. Accenture to train 30,000 staff on NVIDIA AI tech in blockbuster deal. Meta smart glasses can be used to dox anyone in seconds, study finds. Judge blocks California's new AI law in case over Kamala Harris deepfake. Microsoft announces to employees, you can continue working from home unless productivity drops. Amazon could cut 14,000 managers soon and save $3 billion a year, according to Morgan Stanley. World Wide Web Foundation to shut down after 15 years. Biden administration restores pre-Trump farm worker protections from pesticides. In the U.S., Supreme Court declines to block Biden rules on planet-warming methane and toxic mercury emissions. EU fishing and farming deals with Morocco failed to include Western Sahara's consent, top court says. Zelensky calls for jointly intercepting Russian missiles during NATO chief Ruta's visit to Kiev, as new NATO chief Mark Rutte visits Ukraine in his first trip since taking office. NATO won't shoot down Russian missiles and drones over Ukraine as it's involving U.S. in war in different way, announced by Pentagon. Not 1, but 2 asteroids might have ended the age of dinosaurs, as scientists discover a 5 miles wide undersea crater created as the dinosaurs disappeared, where the 5 miles asteroid impact crater below Atlantic captured in exquisite detail by seismic data. Ant agriculture began 66 million years ago, in the aftermath of the asteroid that doomed the dinosaurs, says a study. IDF says it killed Hamas de facto PM, Sinwar's right-hand man, in strike 3 months ago. Reuters special report claims, emails show early U.S. concerns over Gaza offensive, risk of Israeli war crimes. Middle East conflict sparks Chinese national pride, criticism of Israel. Nasrallah's reported successor, Hashem Safieddine, targeted in Israel Air Force's strike in Beirut, said in a report. Iran will attack Israel again if necessary, Supreme Leader says in rare speech. Biden says U.S. discussing possible Israeli strikes on Iran oil facilities, and Indian Navy ships reach Iranian port for training, amid West Asia tensions. U.S. crude oil jumps as Biden comments on possible Israel retaliation against Iran. Slovakia says it has strong interest in maintaining transit of Russian oil, gas via Ukraine. As if war ends, I'll restore relations with Russia, Slovakia's Fico says. 10 days ago, Slovak Prime Minister PM Robert Fico gets a bullet in the mail. Warsaw condemns Moscow for abductions of children in Ukraine, as Polish Foreign Minister likens Russian kidnapping of Ukrainian children to Nazi crimes in UN speech. The UK and EU vow to mend their Brexit-battered ties. They will set a new agenda and hold summits. Moldova accuses Russia of bribing citizens to block EU vote. Indian population leapfrogs Chinese to become third largest ethnicity in New Zealand. That 90s show cancelled on Netflix after 2 seasons. YouTube Shorts will boost max video length to 3 minutes. Rugrats live-action movie in the works at Paramount, with CGI babies. Mark Cuban still loves Dogecoin, but every meme coin is a rug pull in the works. IMF urging El Salvador to limit Bitcoin use and tighten regulations. Analysis reveals possible 51% attacks by Satoshi on Bitcoin in early 2009, and upcoming HBO documentary claims to have identified Satoshi Nakamoto. Fortune reports as criminals prefer cash to crypto, new report finds. Visa introduces the Visa tokenized asset platform that helps banks issue fiat-backed tokens. Franklin Templeton files for Bitcoin and Ethereum Index ETF with the SEC. SEC appeals Ripple ruling as Bitwise files for XRP ETF, and SEC's enforcement chief exits as Ripple appeal looms. Kraken to end Monero support in European Economic Area. Mercado Bitcoin taps Ripple for payments between Brazil and Portugal. Ryanair will eliminate airport check-in desks and paper boarding passes. PepsiCo to buy tortilla chip maker Siete Foods for $1.2 billion. Nasdaq faces inquiry from 22 GOP state attorneys general over diversity rules. Yazidi woman kidnapped by IS when she was 11 freed from Gaza, in U.S.-led operation after decade in captivity. French jihadist linked to Charlie Hebdo attackers, sentenced to life in prison. Bloomberg comments as Israel's fight with Islamist groups puts Arab world in dilemma, and Reuters reports that Gulf states sought to reassure Iran of their neutrality in Iran and Israel conflict, sources say. Bogus skydiving instructor jailed for lying about qualifications at California school that saw 28 deaths. Houthis send email alert to Red Sea ships, as prepare for attack with best regards. Most players prefer single-player games, new study claims. Court says betting on U.S. congressional elections can resume for now. In Brazil, Haddad says 2,000 illegal betting sites will be taken offline. Robinhood lets Brits lend shares for extra income in bid to grow international footprint. Kids missed out on learning to swim during pandemic, widening racial and ethnic disparities. Trauma at life's beginning can mar its end, study finds. Scientists identify brain signal disruptions behind voices in schizophrenia. Ultra-processed foods account for nearly half of calories eaten by UK toddlers, study finds. Adult dietary patterns with increased bean consumption are associated with greater overall shortfall nutrient intakes, lower added sugar, improved weight-related outcomes and better diet quality. Cellular agriculture research manages to culture pork fat tissue on rye protein scaffolds. Dental benefits of adding fluoride to water may have declined, study finds. Study ties diabetes and obesity to increased risk of liver cancer relapse, as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and diabetes mellitus, as growing etiologies of hepatocellular carcinoma. Rheumatoid arthritis tied to heavy economic and human burdens. More than 800 monkeypox deaths recorded across Africa. Bavarian Nordic mpox shot shows antibody responses wane after 6 to 12 months, as per a study. CDC says mpox vaccine boosters aren't needed in the U.S. as questions emerge around waning immunity. This season's flu vaccine cuts risk of hospitalization by almost 35%, finds report. Arab League condemns what it describes as Israel's brutal scenario in Lebanon. Oxfam says more women, children killed by Israel in Gaza than in any other conflict in 2 decades. Nobel Peace Prize could honor UNRWA, ICJ and UN Chief Guterres, as Security Council backs Guterres after Israeli move to label UN chief persona non grata. Russia's power generation by nuclear plants to grow by 37% by 2036. Michigan nuclear plant finalizes federal loan to support first reactor restart in U.S. history. Microsoft's mammoth AI bet will lead to over $100 billion in data center leases. Gazprom becomes Russia's least profitable company in 2023, Forbes reports. Rumors of Stellantis and Renault merger are pure speculation, says Stellantis CEO. China's stock boom may turn to bust as in 2015, Nomura warns. New Perfdol malware targets Linux servers for cryptocurrency mining and proxy jacking. North Korean hackers using new Veil shell backdoor in stealthy cyber attacks. Cloudflare blocks largest recorded DDoS attack peaking at 3.8 Tbps. Interpol arrests 8 in major phishing and romance fraud crackdown in West Africa. Lockbit ransomware and Evil Corp members arrested and sanctioned in joint global effort. In the U.S., 2 foreign nationals sentenced for multimillion-dollar scheme to defraud Apple Incorporated out of 6,000 iPhones. K-drama giant CJ to spend $750 million yearly to fight Hollywood. Margaret Qualley in racism row after asking Blackpink's Jennie if her blonde hair is real, as Jennie experiences racism at Paris Fashion Week as Margaret Qualley questions her blonde hair. Los Angeles prosecutors to review new evidence in Menendez brothers' 1996 murder conviction. New hearing set as DA weighs evidence of molestation, amid success of Netflix's Monsters. North Korea's Kim calls Yoon puppet, threatens to nuke Seoul if attacked. In the U.S., Democrats suspect Netanyahu attempting to tilt Trump versus Harris race. Research suggests original art elicits 10x the emotion of Prince. Standard Chartered says Bitcoin not a safe haven against geopolitical risk, gold is. Australia's police confiscates crypto worth $6.4 million in crackdown on ghost messaging app. PayPal settles invoice with EY and PUSD first business payment. Africa's famous Serengeti and Masai Mara are being hit by climate change as a major threat to wildlife and tourism. Hurricane Kirk strengthens into a Category 4 storm in the Atlantic. Bird flu outbreak kills dozens of tigers in Vietnam zoos. In Spain, the government proposes creating a new flexible sick leave that allows part-time work. U.S. job growth picks up to 254,000 in September, but employment falls in entertainment industry. Employment in India up 36% with 17M jobs between 2000